Welcome everybody to Black Knight in the Blender. And today I want to talk a little bit about title cards or logos or whatever you want to call those. Actually, I think it's title cards, but okay. How to make them in Blender and how to extrude them later. You can see I made quite a few while searching for my own title card or my own name thing. This one is for Wild Hearts later. Looks really fancy. And I'm going to show you today how you make this yourself. And it's actually pretty easy. You just have to know where to search. And so the first thing you want to do is actually add text. And at the beginning I did do this. I did this like this. I added an object. And I went into edit mode and I picked the bevel and I started extruding. Yeah, like this. Just doing this. To make a letter. But that's like shitload of work, and there's a way easier way to do this. And this is, you press Shift A and you add text. Let's make this a little bit bigger. You can see it bigger. We scale it up a little bit over, so it's a little bit standalone. And now you have text. And what we're going to do, we're going to name this Really Easy. Oh wow, how do you do that? Yes, the thing is, if you're in object mode, this is where you move it around and stuff. And if you go press tab, you get into edit mode. And if you are in edit mode, you can just write in here everything. Great, right? But okay, now this is very flat. You can see this from the side. It's like, it has no depth to it. It's just a piece of paper, you could say. How do we get from here to something that is three-dimensional and has multiple layers? You can see it right there. This is 3 different layers of the same thing. They're all made like this. Those are parented to one another, so they all move together. But how do we do this in here? Let's make it a little bit smaller. This is actually very easy. So first of all, you want to set your font. I don't want to use this one. I'm gonna go down here to the font page and click on the little folder button, and now you can search all the fonts that are installed on Windows. If you want something that is not on Windows, like a Google font or something, you have to download the font file and install it for all users. That's very important, because otherwise Blender won't be able to find it. It is installed in Windows and you can use it in Windows programs then, but you can't use it in Blender. So you have to make sure you install it for all users. Very important. But okay, let's pick a font now, and I'm gonna pick the very classic Times New Roman. That is the regular one. And double click that and it loaded it in. So now this is Times New Roman. Great. Also doesn't say it. It does say it down here. This is Times New Roman regular 001. To make multiple layers, we're just going to duplicate this and we're going to not move them. So if I press Shift D, I get a duplicate. And now I can move this around and put this somewhere else, but I don't want that. I want it to be on the same point. So I'm going to press right click. And you can see we still have 2 texts, but they're both just in one another. And now I'm going to do a second one. Yeah, now we have 3 text 001 and text 002. That's what we want. And now we're going to change their geometry. That's down here. And if we are in round, we can change the depth as well. You can see this is very round. Now they're very round, but I want them a little bit more profiled. You can see if I go on profile that this added a little edge here. Okay, so let's make this a little bit deeper. And now I can pick the second one. You can see it's still in there. Yeah, that's why there are those orange lines, because it's still in there. And now I'm going to go on profile as well. I don't want to be that big of a profile. I want it to be a little bit smaller. The thing is, as long as we don't change the extrusion up here, this won't change. It won't come out of the other one. So I'm going to extrude it a little bit until I can see it. Can I see it? Yes, I can see it. If you turn the camera a little bit to the side, that's easier. You can see I extruded quite a lot, actually. So we can go back a little bit. Now it's way better to see. And now we want the first one to come out as well. So here as well. Put this on. Don't even have to put it on profile. I could just extrude it. So it's getting thicker. Okay, let's make this last level a little bit deeper. And now you can see actually it's a little bit so deep that they are merging. Yeah, the single letters are merging into one another. And if you overdo this and you have a very special font, it can look like this. You can see up here, the black one is very clean, while those two, the thicker ones, the deeper ones, sounds funny. Here the mesh is kind of, yeah, it's shoving each else. It's shoving into one another, and then it extrudes in ways you don't really want it to be, so you have to be careful with that. It can look quite good, actually. It looks really amazing. I really like it. And I was thinking about taking this one instead of this one. You can tell me, maybe in the comments down below, what you think looks cooler. I can put them over each other again, of course. So you can take a look. Damn, looks crazy. Looks really cool. But okay, back to our everything here. So now we want to change it so those don't go into each other. If you want that, of course, you can make it like this. But if we don't want that, so the letters are standing alone, we're gonna scroll down a little bit in the same page and go to character spacing. You can see it's set on 1 right now. And now if I set this to 1.1, they have spread out. Now we do this for all of them. You can see, oops. Bam, now they're more standing alone. You can do the opposite, of course, and bring them close together. You could do this as well. And then they're really, really close to each other. Like this. And okay. Sorry. I know, this looks really nice. So of course you could also make like a capital E, a really big E. You can just copy all of them in one go. Really important is that you have 3 lines. If you just have 2, you only have 2 selected, but I can do like this. There we go. Now we have the very thing, interesting word. And if you want them to stick together, so if you move them, they move all together. You can just take 2 of them and press parent, go to parent to object. Now this should move 2 of them because I have selected, I've only parented 1 of them to one another. We're going to do that again. Parent to object. Now it moves all of them around. Way easier to work with. If they're not like this, those 2, I have to select all of them to make it go. Now I can press S to, I could even flip it around. Funny, didn't know that. To scale it, I'm gonna scale it up. Make it like really, really big. Crazy. Maybe like this. It's quite nice. Bam, everything. And of course I could do the same thing for this mark over there, but no, we're gonna leave it like this. And this is great. This is actually great. I like it. And actually now we could extrude it like this. We could export it like this, and then you had a grayish everything. But that's not what I want. Let's do some shading. And you can see those are. This one is a really easy shader. It's just a plain black. I even called the color true black because it's just black. This one is a little bit more complicated. It's a swirly red. And if we go in really close, you can see it looks like this. It looks like bloody Damascus glass, don't know. While this one is called clean gold. It's just gold. It's not that hard to make, and actually I would not need those three. Those are really, really easy shaders. So we're gonna do something in that way. And for this one, I'm gonna make a new color. I'm gonna call that one, let's call it iron. Just gonna make plain iron here. Keep it simple. That's the easiest thing to do. And to make metallic, actually make this a little bit bigger. I'm gonna make it a little bit more grayish. You can see it's already changing the color because we are in shading mode. And now I'm gonna turn up the metallic. It doesn't change that much right now, but this is very important in just a moment if we go for the roughness. So if I put this down, it will get more rough. It will get less rough and more like glass, you could say. While if I put this very high up to 1, it's more like plastic in the end. Okay. A little bit more around with this. I'm just gonna get it closer. Okay, so now you can actually, let's make this a little bit more rougher again. So now you can see it is very reflective. Like, yeah, this is the what's the right word for that one? It's reflecting. It's like very, very smooth, super smooth. That's a little bit too much actually. And it's reflecting now the standard background, and this is like a nature thing. But okay, we don't want that, so we're gonna add a color ramp. You can also search this, somewhat easier to find. And now you have to connect the yellow color with the base color, and now it will set whatever you have in here to the base color. So if I get this up a little bit, you can see we're making a little bit of black metal there, and now it's a little bit mixed up. And this is how it goes. And let's say we wanted to do a little bit like Damascus steel or something that looks similar. You will need my favorite texture, the noise texture. You put in the FAC, grain to gray, and you can see it's already changed. And now I could put up the scale. You can see how they vary. If I change from linear to constant, this is totally different now. If we bring white over, it's making a very, very different color here. It's not really mixing them, it's kind of setting them straight to each other. But we're going to change this back to ease. So now they are more mixed up. Let's get the scale up a little bit. And the other thing is the distortion. And this is how you make this very swirly stuff. And because this is very white, it's more reflecting the surrounding. Make this a little bit more grayish. Looks nice. I think that's fine. Now, if you go back to the layout, you will see how it looks. You can even go way closer. Yeah. So if you set a background, it will reflect from the background and no longer from the other thing. But okay. Let's go back to shading. And now I'm gonna set this one, this second one. I'm not gonna make a true color, a new color, but I'm gonna set true black. This is it's just straight up black. Just goes black, you turn metallic fully up, and then the roughness how you want it. So this makes like a nice shadow, or like a nice black edge. And now for the third one, let's do something a little bit crazy, maybe. Add a new color. And now we're gonna go one step further. Let's make this blue. Make this blue. Okay. So that's a little bit too plain. So let's set a color ramp again. Do combine colors and put this in here. And now we'll change this one. We're gonna make this one blue and make this one really green. Say green. And we're gonna add turkeys in the middle. Like this, and now they're all mixed up. That's not what I want. I'm gonna add a noise texture again, because that's funny. Noise texture, there it is. Oh, back that in. Get it in there. Okay, let's scale this. Now you can see how it's all swirling together. We're gonna set this to constant. To a little play around with that. And then you can make smaller edges in between. Let's get the whole thing a little bit closer again. Yeah, because my camera is not working. I don't know why. But now you can really see it a little bit better. Let's add a little bit of distortion. Looks like a crazy camouflage. Don't know where you can camouflage with that, but it's totally possible. And you can see it looks like plastic because the metallic is turned really down. It's not metallic at all. And now it's getting more of a harder look. Same goes for the roughness, right? So you have to play around a little bit with the different scalings to get whatever you like. Just play around with it. It's actually a lot of fun to do that. But okay, next thing we're gonna add is the bump. That is in vector. And that's gonna add a little bit more surface to the whole thing. Gonna put this into height. And for the normal, this one, we need a normal as well. We put this in, you see it would change quite a lot. The funny thing is I can't scroll anymore and don't even know why. But you can see it has like little ridges and everything, right? Okay, now we can go even further and search for, because it's too long, texture coordinate. And this will change a little bit. If you put in vector, object into vector, it makes some changes. You can see this, I put it back off. And every one of those changes the pattern without you having too much to do. Like this is now super detailed and you can see it moves with the camera. So if I change the camera angle, the whole thing changes. It's really crazy actually. And if I play around with the scale here as well, it will change that as well. But of course it was really like a really wide scale, far away before, like now. It really depends on what you put in. You have to play around with the sliders again to get what you want. Okay, let's get the strength higher. You can see this changes how much it is rigid. If we put on distance, it's gonna bump it even more. I'm just gonna say bump it. Okay, let's put the window out and get reflection in. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. Ooh, now it's really, really crazy. It pulled the colors in directions. This is also because we're having the edges here. If I move those two aside, oh no, I can't move them aside. If I move those aside, you can see that the pattern on the flat surface looks quite different. So you have to make them for the bevels and for a flat surface as well. That's also why I used multiple layers, so I don't see this very crazy side there. But you can see this looks absolutely crazy and amazing. I'm gonna leave it like this, I guess. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of blue, but okay, who cares really? This looks so crazy, I love it. We're gonna go with that one. The thing is now, how do I get this out of Blender if I want to use it in somewhere else, in a different thing? We're gonna go back to layout, and now you see it's all gray again, kind of sad. Now I'm gonna let it render the colors. Bam. Really easy. Yeah. Okay, and now I can just go to view and viewport render image, and now it will render whatever I see right now. Put render image, now it looks like this, and this is already transparent because I have the settings enabled right now. This is actually really easy to do. Go for the camera and you have to enable transparent. If this is done, this normal background will not be saved on your image. The other thing you need is you go to the scene format and you have to click to, if it's not already set, to RGBA, because A is the alpha, that is the transparency. If you don't have this one set, if you have RGB, that's red, green and blue set, it won't work. It will also not work if I put a plane in, wherever that is. It's moved in there. Okay. Make this a little bit bigger. Now I would have a gray background because there is an object that can be rendered, right? But I could make it like this if I want to. And now we're gonna go back to, this will look funny later, to render the viewport. And now I click on image and I'm gonna save it as something. I'm gonna call this everything 1. Save as image. Yeah, do it. And now if I go into my folder, where is it? There it is. You can see this is all now transparent. Okay, so if I put this into something else, this won't show. It's actually very useful. But if I don't want that, I have to make this one either invisible or I just straight up delete it. And now I would only have this one. If I would go now into Filmora, no, I don't want that. And I'm gonna get an image from Blender. This one you can see already on the picture here. This one has no background. I'm gonna get both. Up. Put them in here just quickly. Now you can see this one has the gray background and this doesn't. You can put them onto one another and you can look through one of them but not through the other one. Okay, so those one now actually show the grid. Yeah, and this is something that we get rid of next. And it's actually pretty easy, but you can see otherwise it's transparent. You can see through the grid here. The next thing we do, we go back to Blender. And now we're gonna go up in this little box here and we can just disable the grid completely. You can also disable everything else like the axis or the floor. Can put that away too. And now if I do it again, I'm gonna render this. You can see now there's no grid in this image. Save that again. Save this as everything 3. Then I have 3 more things on my PC. Isn't that nice? Save as image. Yeah. Now I can go here again. Open this. Everything 3. And this now has no grid. And to actually show that, I'm going to delete those 2. Bam. No grid. Right now you can put it everywhere. And you can see this is how your screen would look like later in YouTube, as example. So that's why you want it really, really close. And you have to really think about how many details you want to put in there. So if you don't want to make it big, like really, really big, you won't see any of those really small details, right? Like on the outer edge. If I make it too small, it will just look kind of blue, right? But okay, yeah, that's it. That's it for this little episode of Blacklight in the Blender. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was helpful. Tell me in the comments down below if you have any more questions or what you think, don't know. And of course, I hope to see you all next time in another video. For now, it is have a good day and bye-bye.